Hello. Hello and welcome to today's therapy support group session every Thursday of the month, 7 till 9 p.m. UK time. I'm probably not going to stay for the whole 2 hours tonight. I might not stay for long at all, actually. I'm going to have a bit of a talk with you guys and make a bit of a personal statement and then see where we want to go from here. So I've got a couple of people that I'm still working with, and some people are turning up to that, but I'm finding that most people are having some kind of attitude or problem with turning up, or they're not valuing it, or they're throwing it in my face, or they're flirting with me, or they're expecting things from me that really aren't appropriate or are unfair of me to expect of me as a counsellor and one person. And also, I think I might be sort of reaching some kind of burnout with this, because when you're giving your heart and soul to something and you're kind of banging your head against a brick wall, and then what you are achieving is getting thrown at you anyway in some kind of you lose your momentum, you lose your well-being, you lose your passion for it. And I don't want to lose my passion for it, because I want to be at the top of the slide, making an environment where people can get well-being, instead of at the bottom of the slide where people are just crashing down and out and making themselves and others a victim of something. So I want to be at the top of the slide, but I am starting to feel tired out. I've had to make a few really tough decisions recently and make a few tough calls, which I haven't really had a lot of respect with. And it's easy for most people on Twitter, in their anonymous state with lots of different pretend accounts all joining in on things, to make bold statements and create in problems or infighting or dishonor someone else's efforts, because at this point you might not understand the full situation and what have you. And I think at this point I've earned the right to have a little bit of respect, to have people know that I come with a good heart, and that if I make a mistake I will take it on. But if I'm coming at something, I've generally got a lot of evidence. I've had to wait a long time. I've gone through due diligence and process and protocol. I've sit and witnessed it ethically. I've spoken to someone else who's above me about it before I've ever made any kind of anything, any kind of decision to do something. And when I've had to make decisions to do something, it's because I am in my true image. I am in my I have my own business as a counsellor and we're representing self. I have my own charity and we are representing not only non-offenders, but those who want rehabilitation, those who want recidivism, that word, those who are victims and want to come to survivorhood. We want to make a space for everyone to be safe, not for some people come here to feel like they're more entitled than others to safety. And I'm finding that the sabotaging of what efforts we are making and what movement we are making forwards really hard to take. It's really getting me down, because it feels like any forward motion that we do have is then sabotaged out of, because if you don't want to cuddle, go away, because I'm not in the mood. Any forward motion we do make is then brought backwards, because infighting, or I'm just having a bad day, or I'm going to go out and seek some hate and seek after that. And then what effect does that have on me as a person, and me in the group, and me in the community, and my efforts in general, and then my feelings about other people's efforts? We get all like dragged down, and then all we are is how someone has made us feel, and then we project that onto everyone else's efforts too, which I think is unfair. And I found, because, and this is my work to do, because minor attracted people come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and they come with lots of dual conditions. I'm noticing a lot of Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder, learning difficulties, or the other end, like hyper brainy, into sort of a different way of thinking, and atypical neuroscience, and psychological disorders and mental health disorders, and all these other things that affect this human being coming as a map. And I've done a year of this now, over a year now, and I'm just getting to the point where how maps are treating me is affecting how I feel about maps and my work that I can do with them. And I think I'm reaching burnout. And because of that, I'm now, all these maps that keep on treating me crap, they're just unworkable. They're not, they don't want to come with their best foot forward. They just want to mistreat me. Well, why am I here? Because they want counselling and I'm here turning up. Oh, but they don't want to, work with me. They don't want to do their work. They think counselling is some kind of rescue situation and I'm going to be on the phone whenever they need. And I already do in between sessions with text. And I do that with all my clients. I work like that. I'd rather keep someone going with a quick 1 minute back and forth, because that's easy. Or let's hold that safe until you come into session, because that's quite big, but lower your expectation of self. I'd much rather do that than spend 2 weeks undoing all the process that we've done. But I'm not here on the end of the line because I'm some kind of rescue friend and I'm here to make you feel better at a whim. And I'm not here for you to make appointments and then not turn up for Skype, because I could have done that for someone else. This is my free time I'm giving for free. And also, I've given out my book like 100 times and I've got one bit of feedback. And he bought it, he bought 2 copies, in fact. He wanted to invest in the charity, of which, this is for you. All my book profits are going to you and your charity. But, can't even read the book, I've given it to you. And that's not about me. That's about you and your process and what difference you want to make in your life. My life is wonderful. I've got a whole load of shit to live with, but my life is wonderful. I'm not here trying to make myself feel better. I'm trying to make a difference for you, and I'm spending myself. And that's fine, because I can keep myself safe in that. But when I spend myself and it's chucked at me, or it's wasted, or it's ripped up so no one else can use it, I don't want it and no one can have it, well, then that leaves me as a used object, as objectification, that I'm just disposable, or I'm wasted, or I'm devalued in some way. And actually, I'm here to tell you I'm putting a lot of effort into this. And I put a lot of work in to doing my work that allows me to work with this difficult material. And it is difficult material. And you don't have a lot of people training to do that work. So the ones that do, I feel, should be a little bit treasured, or at the very least, not misused, or in fact abused occasionally. And I suppose the other thing is that with this notion of best foot forward, I think the majority of minor attracted people are on a spectrum of attraction. So they have other avenues, they have other opportunities to find fulfillment. So this woe is me on what I have to live with unfulfilled feels a little bit entitled, because if you have ability to fulfill adult attraction and relationship and have expression, and also have some kind of online, I'm struggling with this or whatever, because there is this part, and get it safe enough to share with that adult partner, because I love you and all that I am, but I have this thing that I've got to live with. Just in the same way as me, I'm pansexual. I'm in a monogamous monogamous 25-year wonderful marriage to a man whom I adore. But I haven't had sex with women, which is in my sexuality. But I don't sit here, you know, failing my life out because I can't have it all. I make the choices and then I make the most out of them. And if you have a choice, you aren't exclusively minor attractive, then you have a choice. You have a choice, man. Fucking turn up to that. Don't like turn up already done, stab a hole in me, I'm done. Like, I can't work with that. If you've given up on you, what can I do? Therapy is about what you turn up to in the environment that I create for you, not what I can give you or magic on you or there or mummy or be your baby in some way. Like, that's the other thing. I want to make a real clear personal statement that I am not DDLG. I'm not in a BDSM relationship. I don't sexually get aroused by being little. And I don't want to get into therapeutic relationships with adult men on the minor attraction spectrum who think that that's an avenue to have some kind of sexting or some kind of you be a daddy and I'll be your little. I'm not doing that. I'm not shaming anyone that does. I feel like, oh, it is such sensitive, like you want to be in a super safe relationship with a very, very clear contract and, oh my gosh, be safe, because that seems like a whole lot of, ooh, be careful with yourselves. And if it's between consenting adults, fantastic. But mine is autopedophilia, complex post-traumatic stress disorder that causes me, oh gosh, catastrophic physical health. And I'm putting a lot aside and working on a lot of things. I'm still having, well, I've just finished my eye movement desensitization reuptake therapy that has now had me a year without seizures, and I'm allowed to have injections in my spine again. I've found a surgeon that will do it because I haven't had a seizure for a year, and I'd really like to keep it that way because I've worked really hard at that. And people, I will talk all day about the neuroscience of things and the trauma of things and the process of things and the therapy of things and the just being of things, but I'm not getting into some kind of, you know, this is what turns me in and what turns on you, and let's talk about sex in a kind of, ooh, what are we making between us? I'm not talking that way. I don't want to talk that way. You know, it's not about that. It's not about me. It's about you. And if my process helps you in some way, I'll talk about it all day long. But I'm not talking about it to get closer to you and you to get closer to me in some kind of sexual way. Please don't insult me like that. I've got a 25-year relationship that is rock solid, whom is my absolute everything. And I work on my pansexual side with him. So I don't need any daddies. I don't need any whatevers. And I don't want disrespecting like that anymore. Because you make me want to give up. That's where I'm at. I feel like, have they just got too many things and it's unworkable? Because if that's what it is, you won't find anyone to help you. Because if you're just one of many things that you're entitled to and I don't want to work, that's enough to not have to work, then you're a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm not into doing that. I'm into difference and meeting and creation of a different environment that allows you to fulfill your potential and create self-actualization and become a person that feels fulfilled and celebrates themselves. But if you don't want to do that, God damned if I'm going to chase you down to do it with me. I've got so many clients writing to me and texting me and sending me beautiful things of how precious our work together was. I don't need ego boosting. I'm not here for myself. I'm here to sacrifice self to be with you, because you have no one. You have no one putting their hand up going, oh, I want to give you love. No one. And here I am telling you, I want to give you love and trying to give it to you, and you just won't fucking take it. So I'm sort of at my end, but for right now. we're over a year when we started the Project Snowball, but the charity started on April the 1st. And April is quite a tough time for me personally, because that's the birth date of my first abuser. It's the death date of my first abuser. It's the date that I addressed it in front of him before he died, and then was attacked by my entire family and blamed, and all these different things. On top of that, it's also Mother's Day, and I'm estranged from my mother, who had a whole ton of different things that were projected on me. So April is pretty crappy. The beginning, end of March, beginning of April, that whole sort of time. And my physical health is quite bad at the moment. I've got a lot of arthritis in my hands. That's why I've got these very jazzy gloves on. And I've just been told that I can't take the medication for them anymore, because it causes me a super rare side effect, because of course that would be me, of ulcerating through anti-inflammatories, and so that can cause you to bleed out, and it was causing some really awful things. So I've had to stop them, and now I have to live with the pain, another pain. So I'm feeling a bit and I'm having to process all that, and we're having to adjust our life, and we're having to do sort of major life decisions because my hands don't work. So it's all a little bit. I've got so much energy, and it's wonderful energy. I'm not devaluing myself. I've got bucket loads. I've got a fucking well full. You couldn't imagine one person has as much energy as I do, but I'm not going to waste it. I'm in too much pain to waste it. And if you don't want it, I'll give it to someone else. There is loads that want it and value it and make it precious and hold themselves precious. So I will give it to them. But I did really want to give it to you, and I still do. So what I'm going to say is, I'd like you to think about what you want from this, what you want me to cover from now on. I've had no one contact me on what was going to be next. I was going to talk about Michael Jackson and the Madeleine McCann case and some things on Twitter, but I just really don't think I've got the energy, and I don't feel like starting a shitstorm for people that don't even care about it. So I want some feedback. I want some response. I want people to contact me with content and what they want to cover. I want people to turn up. I want people to let me know whether this is helping or not, because if I'm not helping, I don't have to waste my energy. I don't have an ego in this. Like, I'll just stop and I'll put it somewhere else. This isn't Project Snowball is my baby, but this is one frond of it. And I can do this in different ways. Like, I'm not giving up on the teenagers. I'm not giving up on the people that do want to work. I've got someone turning up on Friday to Skype, and I'm really excited. I've got people reading the book, buying and reading the book, not just receiving it for free and then like, done that. You haven't even opened it, so you've not done that. You've not read any process to think, what could I turn up for myself, instead of just going and expecting someone else to just plant it on me. Like, that's how counselling and therapy even works. So, feedback. Give me some back and forth. I'm not an island. We're in a community, I thought, and it feels like I'm just getting shoved to one side or whatever. So, want me or lose me for now. So I think that's all I've got to say tonight. I think I'm going to go and have a lovely evening with my husband. And when you guys work out what it is you want to do and what you want to turn up to, let me know, because I'm here, I'm ready, I've got everything. I've got all of the everythings. I've got so many different ways of doing stuff that it doesn't matter if one thing doesn't work for you. I've got 100 different ways. We can tailor make it just for you. You just got to turn up. And I can't make it any broader in these sessions to try and include as many people as possible, because at some point we've got to get into specifics. But every time someone turns up for the specifics, they don't actually want to do the work. And I'm a bit sick of being judged as the one who couldn't be the therapist, when actually I'm the environment, you're the therapy. So don't turn up expecting me to therapize you. You've got to therapize yourself. So, that being that, me and my new bunny that my daughter bought me for Mother's Day, that says,
"Hi, it's Magenta. I just want to tell you that I love you so much."
So I know it's not Mother's Day in America, but it is in the UK soon. So look after yourselves, and I'll turn up next month if I get some feedback. I mean, I'm noticing people are watching them. So it's not like, I think some people are getting, I don't know, I don't even know whether they're just switching it on, switching it off, and that's a view, and they've seen 2 minutes of it, who knows? So I don't really know, and I don't want to waste anymore. And I think I've done a good stint with no feedback, and now we're 8 months into a monthly session, plus a lot of campaigning, plus a lot of things just falling through, and a lot of, you know, backlash, and a lot of isolation. You all are fine, all friends together. I'm on my own. I'm like out on the edge because you're the therapist and you don't have feelings, and you're not allowed to, you know, be an equal. I've got to be up here on a pedestal, being expected to be whatever. And actually, I'm just a human, and I need support too, and I need to belong, and you need to let me belong. Otherwise, why am I doing this for you? I don't need this. I'm not minor attracted. I've come to terms with my autopedophilia. Anyway, I'm ranting now. I think I've covered everything. So, me and Jumping Genta can say bye. And we'll see you maybe at the next session. Lots of love. Ta-ta for now.